Good morning, everybody. This is Eureka John at Eureka Street Crypto Hub, broadcasting live from Leander, Texas. It's 6 o'clock in the morning exactly, on the dot, and it's September 16th, 2021. And this is my video blog, Eureka Street Crypto Hub, and I'm broadcasting on Theta TV. Good morning, Randy. Top of the morning to you. And let's see here. Yeah, this is what it is, and this is me just exploring my crypto on a day-to-day basis and just talking about something that I learned new, and that's it in a nutshell. So let's take a look over here at CoinGecko and see what's going on. $48,000.27.84 for the price of Bitcoin. $3,611.53 for Ethereum. Really, I don't really feel like talking about all these others today. This is going to be kind of a Bitcoin-centered show. I try to talk about as much stuff as possible in the crypto world. I talk about everything from total complete shite coins, what a lot of people, Bitcoin or maximalists, call every other coin besides Bitcoin. And I try to talk about Ethereum-based projects. I try to talk about the Metaverse. I try to talk about, yesterday I talked about insurance. So I mean, I'm all over the place with this show. The sky's the limit. If there's anything that you think that is worthwhile talking about, shoot me a DM or a comment on the YouTube. Hey, give me a thumbs up on the YouTube or Odyssey or BitChute. It does help the algorithm, I guess. I don't know. I'm not exactly out trying to turn this into some kind of multimedia conglomerate, but it does help, right? Yeah. So let's see here. Okay, so let's go just straight into it. I find myself dilly-dallying around talking about all this other stuff, and then not getting to the point. What's up, Catherine Capsulot? I like that name. Catherine Capsulot. Sounds very regal, but it's kind of silly. All right, let's see here. But it's in all lowercase, so there's no caps on there. So interesting. Aha, I see you. I see where you get that. All right, so let's see here. So let's go to the article for today, and today's article is a combination of Bitcoin and the Metaverse. Now, one of the reasons that this article caught my eye is because when I think about the Metaverse, I don't really think about Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin, I love Bitcoin. I hold Bitcoin. Bitcoin to me is a store of value. It is the first mover, and it is the most decentralized and secure network out there, but it's slow. And I know the Bitcoin maximalists be like, well, we got Lightning Network. I'm Lightning Network's another layer. It's whenever two people or a company and a person or two companies open channels back and forth temporarily so they can do transactions, and then they close the channels when they're done. It sounds cool, but I haven't really heard of a ton of actual use cases. It seems like Ethereum has been taking the lead on things in the Metaverse, and then some other blockchains are trying to do stuff as well in the Metaverse, including Arc blockchain, Cosmos network, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different ways to approach the Metaverse. So let's dig into this article a little bit and just talk a little bit, because I have a side series going on with two guys from the Meta Game Hub DAO, and Camilo Echeverri and Nicholas Weber. And we just did an intro to the Metaverse video last week, and we're going to be moving on to MetaFi, which is the financial layer of the Metaverse. And I guess this article could really fit in there, and I'm going to probably be talking about that later. But at this point, let me just talk about what I'm learning here. So there's a cool little story here, and I'll read this story to you because I find it's really interesting. This is a very creative way in which people are making money now in the Metaverse. And the Metaverse is not necessarily what you think about it as, the Ready Player One with the Oculus glasses and you jumping in and being like your own avatar and all that stuff. Now, Metaverse can I mean, right now, by listening to me on this podcast, you are participating in the metaverse. And if you look around, if you're on a subway or a bus, or even at home with your own wife or husband or whatever, and you're just sitting there staring at the phone at the dinner table, if you ever sat there with somebody at a restaurant and they're just staring at their phone, like they're completely oblivious to their surroundings, and you're trying to talk to them and they're just staring at their phone. It's it's annoying, to say the least. But they're in the metaverse. They're mentally in that metaverse. So anyway, so let me read this little part here. The online generation. At 15 years old, Paulo's life in Rio de Janeiro approaches an important crossroads. Teenagers falling into the sphere of street crime is all too common in Brazil, and job opportunities are limited within his age group. But Paulo has a unique skill. He's a gamer. He saved all his money from a dishwashing job to buy the fastest laptop he could afford, and in 6 months became one of the top Counter-Strike Global Offensive players online. Paulo also transformed his gaming excellence into financial standing. He now pays the electricity bill for his family with his earnings. Thanks to CSGO's Bitcoin integration powered by Zebedee, gamers all over the world can earn in the increasingly omnipotent online global currency that no government or company controls without any restrictions. Age, location, banking status matter nothing to Bitcoin. Paulo's fictitious life is embodied by gamers in Brazil today because of the solution-hungry industry blossoming around Bitcoin, driven by a united mission of global financial empowerment. So this is really interesting. This kid, it kind of reminds me of Ready Player One. Ready Player One is set, I guess he's in Oklahoma or something, and he's in basically what amounts to a trailer park, but it's built on, all the trailers are built on scaffolding on top of each other, and he's just, in his little thing, playing with his Oculus, and that's where he escapes the real world of living in the future ghetto. And then he found like a little stack of junk cars, and he made a little hideaway in there, and he plays for hours on end, and like basically lives in the metaverse. And then he can scour enough in order to get some food and pay for some things in the real world because of what he's made in the metaverse. And apparently his mom and his mom's boyfriend is continuously taking the money that he makes in the metaverse from him in the real world, because he's like, you got to pay for, where you live and all this stuff. I don't know. But that's just the drama of the movie. But I mean, kind of maybe a similar situation, I don't know Paulo's situation, but I mean, maybe he's making money for the real world by gaming. So anyway, once a month, Paulo sells his Bitcoin for Brazilian real and takes the cash to the local utility office to pay for his family's monthly electricity bill, while the currency he earns can't currently be used to pay the power company directly. He easily liquidates his Bitcoin via Brazil's vibrant peer-to-peer Bitcoin exchanges. Paulo is empowered by his skill set because Bitcoin is money. The exchange rate varies, sometimes violently, but he doesn't care. Paulo is a participant in the global financial network, one completely free from the boundaries of age, jurisdiction, and banking status. Today's youth, always online, is in the process of escaping the legacy financial architecture and opting into the power of Bitcoin, the ultimate online denomination, because it anchors digital truth and property. Paulo and his online opponents will never meet in person, but they are a part of something larger, a collection of virtual worlds empowered by the internet. Many have come to call this complex the Metaverse. And, I'm part of a DAO, and I'll probably never meet any of those people in person, but I'm doing little jobs in the DAO and making the DAO's native currency bank, and some other DAOs doing the same thing. So that's contributing to my bills here at home. Well, not yet, because I have a job, but an actual real life job. But if I didn't have that job, I could technically hustle and work even harder in the metaverse, in the virtual world, the DAOs and all that stuff, in order to pay my real life bills. So in science fiction, we see the metaverse portrayed with VR headsets, but it's more of a way. It's more a way to describe our online experiences, whether anonymous viewer, content provider, or gamer, and we are already living in one, seldom relinquishing the clutch of our phones to constantly remain inside. Our social network handles, media consumption, and online presences are all networked, and we're marching forward into a global pseudonymous economy. We each are already a part of the metaverse, with or without the headset, and Bitcoin serves as the gravitational center around which the metaverse rotates. Anyway, I wanted to dig a little more into Zebedee and the idea of Counter-Strike Global Offensive paying in Bitcoin. I did not know this. I didn't know that there were any games that were, I mean, besides like, some of these games that take Ethereum, like Decentraland and Crypto Voxels and stuff like that, Sandbox, Axie Infinity and stuff like that, that use Ethereum as their base in order to build characters and buy, attributes, buy accessories like sunglasses and hats or whatever and stuff like that. And to buy land and then to buy advertising on land. But all that's really pretty much on Ethereum. So reading the fact that this article was entirely focused on Bitcoin was what piqued my interest. Ooh, that's a kind of a lemony ginger kombucha. It's got a kick to it too. I like these breakfast kombuchas with kicks. All right, so anyway, I found this article on Decrypt, and it talks about you can soon win Bitcoin by playing Counter-Strike. This was written on February 4th. In brief, okay, so crypto gaming is gaining momentum through original games like the Sandbox and Axie Infinity, but we're also starting to see technology implemented into some of the biggest traditional games on the market. Engines plug in for using NFT crypto assets on Minecraft servers is one key example. Engine is, I think, is a really good one to possibly jump into because they are leading the charge on all this gaming, monetary, financial economy, and with NFTs and everything like that. So, yeah, I do have some Engine in my little bag. I hate to use that word, in my bags, but yeah. So here's one that might actually earn you some crypto in the process. This week, Bitcoin startup Zebedee will launch first servers for the popular first-person PC shooter Counter-Strike Global Offensive that implement Infuse. It's technology that allows users to earn small amounts of Bitcoin based on their in-game performance. According to Zebedee co-founder and CEO Simon Cowell, the news is already generating a ton of buzz in gaming circles. Simon Cowell, the guy that never smiles on that show. America's Got Talent. The announcement of our Bitcoin integration with CSGO has resonated with gamers in a way that I haven't seen before in the blockchain gaming, in his British accent, I guess. Cowell just told Decrypt, waitlist signups are already enough to keep our first 10 servers full. I can't do British accent. So we plan to expand capacity very soon. I have a good feeling that we've finally cracked the infiltration of crypto into mainstream gaming. All right, so they got waitlists. They got 10 servers. That was as of February when they were first starting up. Here's how it'll work. When playing on one of the Zebedee's Infuse servers, you'll scan a QR code at the start of the match with a smartphone app to pay a small amount of Bitcoin, as little as 100 Satoshis. And if you know Satoshis, 1 Satoshi equals 1/100,000th of Bitcoin. Over the course of the game, your potential winnings will fluctuate as you rack up kills and or die, with your share of the pot based on your percentage of the total game score. At the end, if you had a successful match, you may finish with more Satoshis than you used to buy into the match. Players can cash out any time, and transactions are handled by the Lightning Network. Ultimately, Zebedee plans to launch servers that require no entry fee thanks to the support of partners whose advertising will be implemented into the experience instead of charging players to compete. So, advertising, yay, advertising, double-edged sword. So anyway, there's Zebedee. That's what that is. And then here's another article written later on down the road in June, because that one was written in last February. And let's see how it's going. Got the skills to pay the bills in Counter-Strike Global Offensive? You can prove it by wagering and winning Bitcoin in the popular PC shooter thanks to an unofficial integration powered by Bitcoin startup Zebedee, which unveiled the functionality in February. Ahead plans to roll out servers featuring its Infuse technology for Bitcoin rewards. Although functional and offering a unique competitive experience for CSGO, Zebedee admits it wasn't particularly easy to transfer funds out of the Zebedee Bitcoin gaming wallet. So yeah, there's a little glitch in there, a little pain in the butt there. I didn't think it would go so easily, whether it was to swap for other cryptocurrencies or to use Bitcoin winnings to make payments. That's where cryptocurrency exchange Bitstamp comes in. Today, the long-running exchange announced that it was partnered with Zebedee to add Bitstamp integration within the wallet. According to Bitstamp Chief Technical Officer, CTO, David Ozoniak, I think that's how you pronounce it, users can log into the Zebedee wallet using their Bitstamp account info, making it easier for players to move and convert the Bitcoin they win while playing the games that feature Zebedee's infused technology. The user experience using the Zebedee wallet in connection with Bitcoin-infused games is already very seamless. It works like a charm until you want to withdraw Bitcoin out of the Zebedee wallet. Ozoniak told Decrypt, this is where Bitstamp comes in, by bridging the gap between the world of Bitcoin gaming and the global economy. Now the experience will be seamless from the game to the Zebedee wallet to the final destination. Bitstamp employees, including Ozoniak, were among those playing in the first public demo of Zebedee's technology within CSGO, which was held as part of a MintGox Bitcoin gaming streaming event earlier this year. MintGox streams have also featured a number of original Bitcoin-centric games such as Bitcoin Rally and Battle Royale shooter Light Night. Zebedee's integration uses Bitcoin Lightning Network for payments. MintGox, that's a kind of a weird choice because don't associate that with Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox is the large exchange a while back in like 2014 that got hacked and a lot of people lost their money. So, but anyway, no relation. But yeah, it's interesting that Bitstamp and exchange comes in. I wonder if you have to do KYC, which means know your customer on Bitstamp, and you have to go through that whole process of being approved, holding up your driver's license, utility bill, a written note saying, yes, this is me, and all that stuff. And to prevent it's an anti-money laundering AML type of procedure. And that basically squashes all anonymity. That Bitcoin is the whole point of Bitcoin, really, to be able to do transactions in a pseudonymous fashion, to be completely, I mean, it's like cash, right? It's push money is what it's called. And that's the point of Bitcoin. And by having to go through this exchange where you possibly have to do KYC, I don't know for sure, but and most exchanges have KYC. And so that's kind of adds a little damper in there, in my point of view. But anyway, let's go back to this article here. Okay, so, all right, where were we? Defining the metaverse. All right, when most people think of virtual worlds, massively multiplayer online games, MMOs, like World of Warcraft that have millions of active players come to mind. But anybody that logs into a social network or watches YouTube videos is part of a virtual world. Currently, 5 billion people use the internet and 4 billion of them participate in social networks. That's like most of the world. All these people contribute to the online economy. So between the multitude of MMOs and popular games as Minecraft and Fortnite, there are over 100 million participants in virtual economies where people buy and sell virtual clothes, weapons, and vehicles. A virtual Gucci bag recently sold for over $4,000 on gaming platform Roblox. Players virtually engage in other ways. Travis Scott, I don't even know who Travis Scott is, but performed a virtual concert within Fortnite to 12 million players and reportedly earned $20 million for the show. Paid for by Epic Games, not by individual Fortnite users, but you see the point there. So people who create content for the internet, bloggers, podcasters, YouTube personalities, Twitch streamers, and TikTok phenoms are participants in the metaverse, as are their followers. I am right now a participant in the metaverse. You are a participant in the metaverse by listening to me. What is then the potential size of the metaverse's economy? Today, online commerce is still shackled by banking relics, but the limit has no bounds of Bitcoin. All right, so roadblocks to the metaverse vision. So Facebook is trying to be a metaverse company. They're trying to be basically the Xerox of the metaverse. When people think making copies of something, they call it a Xerox copy. Facebook is trying to do that. We can help prevent that. The gap is a common currency for metaverse's participants. All right, so there's the gap inside the internet architecture prevents its infinite expansion into a metaverse is originally envisioned by sci-fi authors. Okay, so Facebook is transitioning from a social media company to a metaverse company. All right. So most people don't pay money to use their favorite websites, but it almost seems as if technology companies had to make their own online services free because internet money transfer was so difficult and limiting. And in fact, I didn't know this, but the original architects of the internet anticipated what then was known as cyber currency, and they reserved the HTTP error code 402 for payments. You get the 404 page not found. So error code 402, I guess, would be for a failed payment or something like that. So I didn't know that. I think that's pretty interesting. But if people had to enter a credit card number to access Twitter or Instagram so that money could be pulled from the accounts, widespread adoption of these social networks would not have happened. I definitely wouldn't have gotten on Twitter if I had to gave my credit card information for sure. Online payments injected friction into virtual interaction and therefore weren't prerequisites to interface with the world's most popular websites. Companies now have ways of monetizing their users, whether by selling products to users directly or selling user information to other parties, but they are reliant on ancient financial infrastructure no matter how seamless or instant the front end might feel. This is because dollars and euros don't live natively on the internet, and so any transaction online must go through the banking system and fintech companies using antiquated, closed on weekends system. Even though PayPal and Venmo might feel instant, they are payment processors that exist within this system. Historically, an online cash that could be pushed without trusting a third party didn't exist. Billions of people are prevented from engaging in an online activity due to age, country, or banking status required to participate in a pool money system. Okay, so that's the pool money system, and a push money system is something like Bitcoin. And we'll get to there. So for gamers, player identity between virtual worlds is also essential in making the metaverse a cohesive place. And this is relates to DIDs, decentralized IDs. At present, player identities are incredibly fragmented as pseudonymous gamer tags reside within walled gardens operated by software companies and not players. A walled garden is the particular gaming platform. So I might be Eureka John 0100 over here in this game, but over here in this other game, that name was already taken. So I have to be, kicking butt 2509, in this game over here. And then in a third game, I might have to be Satoshi 3116, I don't get to bring that decentralized ID with me. So yeah, that's different walled gardens. So users have no power to authenticate their identity across platforms, making a decentralized world of virtual worlds hard to come by. Nobody can virtually authenticate each other, making trust tricky to establish and preventing the introduction of an identity layer to the internet stack of layered protocols. This is what I was talking about 3 episodes back with the idea of POAP NFT badges being attached to your wallet, and to prove that you were participating in some DAO or in some event or something, some kind of track record that somebody could look at your wallet if you wanted to jump into a DAO and maybe do some work, or you wanted to get into some specific event. You could show them all the POAP badges on your wallet without revealing anything about your real identity. And you could say, hey, I've been a member of this DAO for a long time, and I've been going to these community calls. I've been active in this specific guild, and I have these POAP badges on my wallet to prove it, because they're NFTs and they're on the blockchain and all that. So that could may qualify you for some kind of loan or some kind of non-collateral loan or something, or whatever, or the privilege of using some specific type of walled off app that only certain people are allowed to use. I don't know, but it could open up the whole world of some kind of weird credit system into the decentralized identity. So that's just something to think about. All that's on Ethereum, though. So this is why this whole article is about Bitcoin. So here, Bitcoin is a revolutionary technology. It's obviously written by a Bitcoin maximalist. So paper cash is push money in the physical world, not pull money. Pull money is the credit system. But paper cash doesn't work for online payments due to its physical nature. So you can't be bringing dollar bills into the metaverse. So Bitcoin solves for online push payments because the buyer isn't required to provide any personal account information like a credit card to send money. It used to make sense for companies not to charge for the things on the internet due to user friction it caused, but those days are ending. To the virtual economy, Bitcoin has arrived exactly on time. And then they give basically just a little rundown on what Bitcoin is and all that stuff. All right. Bitcoin has solved push money, but it wasn't the ideal currency for instant online transactions, especially small ones, because Bitcoin has high transaction fees. It's slow. Full transaction confirmation can take an hour, and transaction fees paid to Bitcoin miners made most small transactions uneconomical. Alternatives to Bitcoin or altcoins sprouted up to help speed up cryptocurrency, but most succumb to centralization in order to achievement. Now, I don't think that's necessarily true. There are a lot of very good altcoins out there that are solving specific problems. So obviously this was written by a Bitcoin maximalist. All attempts to unseat Bitcoin as the cryptocurrency of largest market value have failed thus far because the market loudly values decentralization. Bitcoin is the most decentralization and most secure network. That is true, but there is sufficient decentralization and security within some other of these altcoins. And Ethereum is made specifically with Web 3.0 in mind, with smart contracts in mind. And the Cosmos network is made specifically with interoperability and Web 3.0 in mind, and blockchain 3.0 in mind. Polkadot as well. I mean, there's a lot of amazing different solutions coming about. So that's one thing that Bitcoin maximalists don't really think about, is the idea of something beyond Bitcoin that can evolve. Like, we didn't just start out with the Model T Ford, to get to a Tesla. There's a lot of layers in between there. So anyway. In 2018, several unaffiliated teams of Bitcoin developers created a transaction network called Lightning Network that uses smart contracts to bring instantly settling and practically costless transactions to Bitcoin users. Bitcoin visionaries followed the layered protocol TCP/IP HTTP precedent of the internet and built a layered system for Bitcoin on the same principles. All right, so they got a layer on there, TCP/IP. A Lightning Network is now a flourishing ecosystem of instant Bitcoin transactions, renders many altcoins useless. Again, I don't agree with that. Bitcoin can maintain unbreakable security while leveraging a second layer of transactions to eliminate delay and cost from the equation. The traditional financial system uses layered money also. A good analogy is when you send money to your friend via Venmo, you aren't sending an actual bank balance until the parent company, PayPal, settles an interbank balance days later. So people say, well, just like, why would I use Bitcoin? I use my credit card. Do you realize how many different places that credit card has to go through, and how many transaction fees are being absorbed by the credit card processor, by the company taking your credit card, and by you in the price of the products? All that's built in. Lightning Network was a secret ingredient for Bitcoin that allowed it to transform itself. Previously, the blind spot, its instant settlement, was now a shining strength of the rugged network. Over time, every obstacle for Bitcoin eventually strengthens it. Bitcoin's the greatest. It's all about microtransactions. So here, the prices of in-app purchases generally have a floor of about 70 cents. Because below this amount, developers will lose money on each purchase due to platform and credit card processing fees. Yet microtransactions added tens of billions of dollars in revenue to the gaming industry, birthing the free-to-play phenomenon and catapulting mobile gaming to a niche hobby to over half the market. Lightning Network doesn't just enable microtransactions, it enables nanotransactions as small as 0.0001 cents. For example, you can send 0.000001 Bitcoin or 100 sats Bitcoin subunit, which is about 5 cents today, for anybody, for free to anybody else using the Lightning Network. Furthermore, all signs within the gaming industry show that decreasing transaction sizes yield a higher rate conversion from free to paying users. The combination of Bitcoin Lightning Network and nanotransactions has the power to unlock novel human behavior. Okay. The Lightning-powered software Sphinx is a perfect example of this. You can now pay per use, pay per utility, using the platform, streaming money to a podcaster for as long as you're interested. The second you hit pause or step out of an area in a virtual world, you stop paying. So if I ever wanted to charge for something like this on a podcast or even YouTube, if they started charging as you watch, as long as you watch, it has a little stream kind of trickling out of your wallet and going to me, although YouTube would probably take like 90% of it. But, then that's kind of what Sphinx does. It allows kind of a pay as you go. Networks could be free to join, but pay per second to consume. Newspapers could charge readers per word. I don't know how they would figure out how many words somebody's reading. If all those Fortnite players paid per second to attend his virtual concert, Travis Scott could have made $20 million directly from the players instead of that gaming company that sponsored it. So Lightning Network cements Bitcoin as a standard for online currency, but it also brings about the potential that the virtual economy can grow to be as large or larger than the physical economy that we know today, a possibility that warrants our close attention. A common currency between gamers is a revolutionary concept that would bring sweeping changes to virtual worlds. A player could earn Bitcoin in one game and use it to progress in another. Ultimately, game economies will allow for borderless trade just like the real world, and the price of a digital good in-game will be the same no matter where you are connecting from or what game you're playing. A health potion would be 100 sats, independent whether you're playing Doom or Zelda. Bitcoin and Lightning Network will bring a price arbitrage mechanism to the metaverse, and Bitcoin will serve as a monetary layer to anchor the limitless number of virtual currencies that are sure to exist in the future. So Bitcoin might not, yes, they're sitting there pumping up Bitcoin and Lightning Network, and that's what got me interested in this article. But it says, Lightning Network cements Bitcoin as a standard for online currency. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think Ethereum is kind of acting as a base layer in a lot of ways too. But Bitcoin does act as a solid, stable base. A lot of tokens are traded using Bitcoin or Ethereum as the base currency, and you do see this happen a lot on exchanges, the pairs with Ethereum or Bitcoin. It says here, Bitcoin already serves as the base price for thousands of cryptocurrencies in existence on exchanges, and serving as the reserve currency of the metaverse is merely an extension of Bitcoin's already established center of gravity. Yes, Bitcoin does serve as the base price, but so does Ethereum, so does USDC, and so does Tether. And USDC and Tether are also on Ethereum. So it's interesting. The only reason, I like Bitcoin and I like Ethereum. I'm just kind of pushing more of arguing for Ethereum in this, just because of the huge slant towards Bitcoin on this article. Okay, so let's see here. A quick word on volatility, because that is an issue with Bitcoin and Ethereum, rather than the dollar. Natively online NIMs, handles, and gamer tags are joining 100 million people already thinking in terms of Bitcoin and sats. For them, exchange rate volatility doesn't even exist because Bitcoin is their home currency, a trend that will only strengthen over time. Bypass Bitcoin governments and their central banks, and an exponentially increasing number of people are never going to return the old ways of state-issued money, just like postal services around the world will never regain lost ground to email. Yeah, and I'm already feeling that myself. I would rather be paid, honestly, in cryptocurrency if I could, but that's just not how the world is working right now yet, but it's slowly moving that way. That's why I still keep my day job, and so I can earn that fiat currency, so I can just pay my day-to-day bills. But anything that I save in cryptocurrency for the most part. I just did want to look at some possible criticisms over here, and I found did a quick search, so I didn't do any in-depth research on the criticisms of Lightning Network. But over time, I've been seeing some criticisms of Lightning Network, and I just can't think of them right off the top of my head. But let's see. In a nutshell, the Lightning Network allows participants to transfer Bitcoins between one or another without any fees using their digital wallets. Payment channels are created between the two users so they can transact with each other. In other words, off-chain transactions. Lightning Network is another layer added to Bitcoin's blockchain so it can process micropayments between participants. All right, so it does not completely solve Bitcoin transaction fees problems. There's opening and closing channel costs. So there's two parts to the cost. The first part is a fee equivalent to Bitcoin's transaction charges in order to open and close the channel. Although the Lightning Network allows payments between the two parties, an opening transaction or deposit must be made via on-chain. The two parties can then process multiple transactions between each other, but once the bill has settled, they need to record a closing transaction for the settled amount in the blockchain. So there's opening and closing channel fees. There's the routing fees. Since the fees for Lightning Network are quite low, in theory it should attract more participants. However, if the fees are so low for the routing of payments between nodes, there might not be an incentive for the nodes to facilitate the payments. Why would you run some kind of Lightning Network node on your computer and work your computer and basically pay for that if you aren't getting anything out of it? So also, as businesses adopt the Lightning Network as a method of payment, they may also charge fees too. And then remaining online at all times make nodes susceptible. So the Lightning Network has to open two nodes between two computers, and they have to remain open as long as the transactions are going back and forth, whether that be between the gaming company and the individual doing the gaming. So nodes on Lightning Network are required to be online at all times in order to send and receive payments. Since the parties involved in the transaction must be online and use their private keys to sign in, it's possible that the coins could be stolen if the computer storing the private keys was compromised. However, cold storage of coins, which is considered the safest method for storing cryptocurrencies, is also possible on Lightning Network, so that could help that. but a lot of people don't know how to cold storage. So going offline creates its own set of problems in the Lightning Network, according to Dryja. Okay, I don't know who Dryja is. It is possible for one of the two parties from a payment channel to close the channel and pocket the funds while the other is away. This is known as fraudulent channel close. There's a time period to contest the closing of a channel, but a prolonged absence by one of the parties could result in the expiry of that period. So what if somebody's network, their internet goes down for a day or two? Yeah, that could be an issue, and they could lose money that way. All right, so the payment channels become congested. There's a malicious attack. The participants may not be able to get their money back fast enough due to congestion. If a malicious party creates numerous channels and forces them to expire at the same time, which would broadcast to the blockchain, the congestion caused could overwhelm the capacity of the block, and a malicious attacker might use the congestion to steal funds from parties who are unable to withdraw their funds due to the congestion. So anyway, Bitcoin's popularity is a double-edged sword, since the increased attention garners investment, but also attracts more traders, increasing the volatility or price fluctuations in the cryptocurrency. The price volatility makes it challenging for companies to use Bitcoin as a method of payment when pricing their products to sell to customers or to purchase inventory from their suppliers. All right, so this exchange risk exists because the business might be paid by their customers in fiat currency and not Bitcoin. The exchange risk also exists for consumer transactions, since the salary or wages for most individuals are not paid in Bitcoin, lending to transactions being converted from fiat currency to Bitcoin. So as the price fluctuates, and say one person's paying in dollars and the other person's paying in Bitcoin, there could be a severe fluctuation in value. So, that being said, this whole volatility thing is addressed at the bottom, and basically this author of this is being like, well, you know what? The whole next generation doesn't even care about dollars. Bitcoin is the base, and that's it, And I do kind of agree with that. As cryptocurrency and Bitcoin grows, and as more people adopt Bitcoin, the harder it is to move that body of water. So in a small pond, if a large boat gets dropped in there, it causes a lot of ripples. But the larger that pond becomes a lake and then becomes an ocean, dropping a boat in there, it really doesn't cause a whole lot of ripple, does it? So the larger the pool grows, the less volatility there is in this. And as institutions and large investors and everybody like that and businesses start to use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, the less volatility there is. And we are seeing less volatility, I think, than we did in the early days. Oh, wow. Okay. That turned into quite a show, I think. That being said, I'm going to get on to work. I've gone a few minutes over again, 7 minutes longer than I wanted to. I really try to keep these at 30 minutes, but the past few episodes, I just can't stop talking. All right, man. You guys have a good day. And, hopefully I've provided some value on my shows. And, I will talk to you tomorrow, and we'll talk about something else. All right.